Today we're going to be going over 5 tips to bring your forestry game to the next level. Whether you're new to the game or you've been playing for a while, there's going to be something in here for everybody, so stick around till the end. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any tips that you think are worth sharing, drop them in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's get into this. Tip number 1. Now this is going to be how to influence the direction that your tree is going to fall. Now this might not work every single time. I've had instances where a tree falls the direction that I don't want it to fall, but there is a way that you can control this. Now, you can tilt your chainsaw either left or right. Whichever way you tilt your chainsaw, that is going to be the direction that the tree is going to fall. So if I rotate my chainsaw all the way to the right and cut this tree, it falls to the left, just like that. Now, if I were to rotate the chainsaw the opposite direction, all the way to the left, as you can see, it's going to fall to the right. So this is going to be instrumental in getting trees to land in a specific area. If you're doing forestry in a forest, it can be tight. You don't want the tree to get caught up on other trees. So this way you can go ahead and change the direction that your tree is going to fall. Tip number 2. Now this is going to be a little bit of a gray area and could be considered cheaty by some, but if you don't mind dipping your toes into that sort of thing, then this is going to be for you. If we go into our placeable shop and head over to this tab right here, you can go over to trees, which is the 3rd one. Scroll all the way down. This is going to be your biggest trees. Now here, you can go ahead and buy a fully grown tree, and then immediately you're able to cut this down and get all the wood out of it that you normally would if you grew the tree yourself or if you just found it in a forest. As you can see there, 2.2 tons. If you were to dress and sell this to a sawmill, it's worth substantially more than $2,700. Or if you get one of the bigger deciduous trees and cut that down, they can be about 15.5 tons for the biggest tree. So if you stuff that in your own sawmill, it is worth way more than $2,500. So there you go. That's a good tip for you if you don't mind doing that. Tip number 3. So in this tip, we're going to be talking about the sawmills. Now, naturally, if you're doing forestry, you're going to want to buy your own sawmill. And yep, that's perfectly great. What I would suggest to you is do not buy the medium sawmill. Skip this one. Go right to the big one if you possibly can. And the reason being, the dump area is underneath a roof, which can be extremely frustrating and hard to navigate sometimes. You have to get the trees in this area underneath this roof in order to sell them. Now, if you skip the medium and go right up to the large, A, it's smaller than the medium, and B, the dump area is outside. So this one is much easier to use and produces wood much faster. So there you go. Tip number 3, skip this sawmill if you can. Go right to this one. Tip number 4. So this one's going to revolve around cutting and trimming your trees. So that's going to be all these branches right here. You can take your chainsaw and you can trim all these branches off, which I have done on this tree right here. Same exact tree, same exact weight. This one's trimmed, that one's not. Now, if you don't know how to trim the branches, you're just going to go hold your chainsaw activation button, and then you just walk close to the tree. And you see, it just chops these small branches off, but I'm not going to do any more than that because I want to be able to illustrate my next point. And that is that trimming your trees and cutting them down to size only influences the price if you are selling to a sawmill that you do not own. So, got this tree right here all trimmed up. Let's go ahead and give it a sell. And you can see $6,007 for the price. This one, not trimmed at all except for those 2 branches that I just did. Let's go ahead and move this one over and see what we get for this. Only $1,951 for a tree that is not cut and is not trimmed. Let's go ahead and see What happens if we own the sawmill? I've gone ahead and reloaded the game, and now the only difference here is we bought this sawmill, so we own it, and we're going to sell the same exact trees, and we're going to take a look at the amount of wood that it provides. So tree number 1, trimmed and chopped. 5,294 wood is what we got from selling that to our own sawmill. Now let's take a look at the non-trimmed and chopped tree. And for that one, we got 5,319 wood. So nearly identical amount of wood. And there you go. If you are selling to your own sawmill, don't bother chopping all those branches off. Don't bother cutting it down to size. You're going to get the same amount of wood no matter what. And our final tip is going to be about winches. So you may have purchased this winch if you've been cutting down trees to drag out a forest and do winch sort of things. Now, it's only got a max winch capacity of 6.6 tons. But did you know there are bigger winches in the game? The biggest of which being the John Deere 848L-II. And this winch on this truck can do 15 tons, much bigger than your initial winch of 6.6 tons. Now, the reason you might not know this exists, because it's not under the winch category, it's built directly into the truck. So let me show you how to use this. So here we have our John Deere forwarder. And to access the winch, you're going to go right into this middle area here. And that's where you can pull your winch cable from by pressing R. Now here we have a fully grown American elm. It's 12.9 tons. And as you can see, it attaches no problem. We can pull it. It makes short work of this tree. No issues here. It's even pulling the lodgepole behind it. So if we go ahead and disconnect, there's only one tree that this is not going to be able to winch when it's cut down, and that is going to be the northern catalpa right here, which weighs in at 15.5 tons. If we try and winch this, can't do it. We can only do 15 tons. This is the only tree in the game that this truck cannot pull with its winch. So if you're looking for something with more power, there you go. Look no further. There you have it, 5 tips to up your forestry game. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. And if you have any tips that you feel are worth sharing, please drop them in the comments down below and let everybody know. As always, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next one.